what was this music
What
choice?
is this music choice, Ryan?
It's electro swing, man. I love it.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of the Nexus, where we talk about anything and everything related to League of Legends. I'm Lisa Dwan, and we're back in the studio with Gabe.
Hey, how's it going? Gabe with new glasses.
Oh, new glasses. No one can tell, man.
Not yet.
And we have Ryan over there behind the computer.
What's up?
And today we're joined by a special guest, NA Challenger Team Gold Coin United's coach, Locodoco. Welcome.
Hey,
welcome.
Loco.
Hey guys, what's up?
You like that introduction?
Yeah, it was alright.
Thank you for being with us
Yes,
such an
for
early
sure.
morning. I appreciate it.
No prob.
So, how are you feeling today? It seems like you just woke up.
I did not just wake up. I woke up hours ago.
Really? What were you doing this morning then?
What?
What were you doing this morning then?
I was watching VODs.
Nice.
Wow, he laughed after he said that.
Didn't
you know
even,
he was
didn't
not
even
watching
watch.
VODs.
He didn't even watch LCK live. That's unfortunate.
All right. We'll let him go. He was up watching VODs. Okay, we'll leave it at that for now.
Give you a pass.
So we want to start off with saying congratulations, Loco. Your team won the Challenger Series Finals. Yay!
Yeah.
You don't look so happy.
Oh, I mean, to be honest,
Yeah.
if we didn't win, I would have been very, very sad. But when we did win, I didn't feel overly happy or overly satisfied.
Why do you say that? What do you
I
mean?
mean, because I feel like we have a bunch of LCS caliber players on our team. I feel like I'm an LCS caliber coach, so
Mhm.
doing it was in some ways the bare minimum expectation, and losing would have been the disastrous.
Mhm.
Like humiliation?
Yeah, humiliation.
Wow. Well, I feel like this series finals was very hyped up
Yeah.
on the part of, I guess, the players, because there was a lot of trash talking going on, before the series happened.
So to be honest,
Yeah.
there wasn't any trash talking from our end. So Broken Shard, Hermit, and Gilius, and even Keaton, they just constantly memed throughout the whole season and acted boastful and cocky and overconfident. I mean, I'm usually a trash talker too, so
Mhm. Ready
I was
for
hella
3-0.
trash talk back. But I didn't really feel like trash talking on the internet. From our team's end, the only trash talking we did was right before the games. I trash talked Keaton and Broken Shard and Hermit a bit, but almost all the trash talk was one-sided from United.
So for the finals, though, we saw you guys, I think, join in on the trash talk a little bit, right?
It was
Afterwards.
afterwards. It was afterwards, and we kind of want to get into that too, because trash talk is a part of all competition. Everyone uses it either before a match to
Hype it up.
hype it up or psych out your opponents, or after a match in order to cement
Brag.
yourself and brag a bit, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, trash talk in League of Legends has kind of not been as present or as prevalent as it is in other sports, right? So we were wondering, first off, what do you think about trash talk in League of Legends? Is there a limit? Do people take it too far often? I know the United stuff was a little bit bad-mannered more than or you guys thought it was bad-mannered more than anything. What do you think of trash talk generally? Because like you said, you do like it and you do it occasionally.
I think trash talk can be really fun. I think it can be really hyphy when it's done in the right way and between the right people also. When it's just done bluntly, without any kind of, relationship built beforehand or any kind of storyline, then it just looks stupid. In terms of it crossing the line, I think more often than not, I'm the person that crosses the line. I think it can be really good, but there's a place for it, and it has to be between the right people. I thought one that was done really well recently was between Acadian and Dardoch by LoL esports, because Acadian and Dardoch are both trash talkers and they both have a relationship built already. And when they trash talked each other, it was a lot more expected, and it didn't feel out of the blue.
Wait, so what was it exactly for those, I guess, who don't follow the scene? What was it that E United said exactly towards you guys?
Gilead said we were washed up, and I was a
Oh.
washed up coach, and he said Centurion was passive, that he would 1v9. Just like,
Yeah.
the thing is, I don't know Gilead at all. Like Centurion isn't close with Gilead at all, so he just randomly trash talked out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
And then one of our assistant coaches, Summer, is posting stuff like, "Oh, I'm really excited to do well for today's match," and Hermit, their head coach, is posting stuff like, "Ha ha ha."
Oh, like mocking?
Yeah, I thought it was just very blandly rude.
Now, this might be far out, but obviously they're from EU, right? Is this like maybe a difference between EU style banter versus NA style?
I definitely think that has a lot to do with it. Like EU versus NA. The way Europeans trash talk is just
It's
like
savage.
it's savage, and it's like they just trash talk for the sake of trash talking. I feel like
Like
I don't know.
there's no hype associated
fun?
with it or no fun associated with it. Like they just don't like each other over there. What's up?
I guess like that's just their culture. Like they say stuff and they expect people to not take it so seriously and just like randomly say stuff. But
Mhm.
and in America, it's more PG, and the fan base is more against it, and also the sponsors are more against it too. Like in terms
Oh,
of
I see.
trash talk like this. So I mean, either players and staff on E United like wisen up and not trash talk in this way. And as for like EU players doing it in EU, like that's their reason and that's them doing it. So I don't have much to say. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I don't like work in a European environment, so I'm not gonna go tell them like how you guys should be doing things.
Wait, so after the series, did they or you guys ever talk and like respond to the trash talk or follow up on it?
Oh, so so after they said all those things on Twitter,
Uh-huh.
so like a lot of the European people defended Gilead and even Dardoch defended Gilead, and they were like, "Oh, you guys should what is it? It's so like cowardly to not trash talk and trash talk afterwards because a lot of the
Oh.
stuff we said was after on Twitter." But just to set the record straight, I trash talked before the game to Broken Shard, Hermit, and Keaton, their manager, in person before the game started, and that was the spiciest.
Wait, what was said? I want to know what
Yeah,
was
yeah,
said.
yeah. You gotta
What'd you
reveal at
say?
least a little bit, a sneak preview.
I'm not gonna say anything because I actually trash talked and I actually said very, very mean and very, very rude things because they honestly I gave up my trash talking ways, but they gave me an open invitation to the party, and it's not like I wasn't gonna go.
Did they respond? You said this in person, right? Like you trash talking them in
Yeah,
person? Did they
I
respond?
said, oh yeah, they did. Broken Shard was like, "Oh my god, if you ever do that again, I'm gonna knock you out." He got so mad, he like threatening physical violence. It was one of the most satisfying parts.
Is
In between games, I consistently trash talk too. So yeah, I mean, European folks on Twitter that were trashing me because you thought I was a coward because I didn't trash talk in between the game. The trash talk I did was a little too savage for Twitter, and I had to do it in real life.
Do you think that's why people don't do it more? Because, they're constantly interacting with each other. You're going on stage with these other teams constantly, so you're always in the face of these other teams that you say these really mean things to.
I mean, I don't think that's why they don't do it. It's just fan base has been like very, very against it. Like if you see Gilead on Twitter afterwards, he just got smited by the entire fan base like across the board, and like he made his team very unpopular or very unlikable, not unpopular, very unlikable, within like a few hours of like that happening. So the repercussions are very high in NA. I think that's why people are less likely to do it.
Right.
That's so interesting. I actually remember watching the Challenger series, and
Mm-hmm.
the last time we saw each other, because I remember it was at Worlds, me, you,
Yeah.
and Broken Sharp were hanging out at one point, and you
Yeah.
guys were cool, right? So I
Oh,
remember.
we're not. It's not like we're cool. I'm not good friends with Broken Shard. If anything, it's
Oh.
just.
But you guys
to,
were
like-
like cool. Like, it was fine. We were all in the
Amicable.
same
No, I
space.
am
think, I
friendly.
think you were drunk. I think.
I think you were drunk.
Hey, it's
No.
it's worlds. Who
That's
knows?
why you were so friendly with him, because you were drunk.
I was not friendly. I'm usually not fake friendly to people I don't
Yeah.
like, and I'm not that fond of Broken Shard.
That's so funny. Well, like, I guess my impression was like, we were cool. We were in the same room. You guys weren't fighting. And then I remember watching the stream, and you guys did the coach shaking hand thing, and I saw you guys look each other, and I saw so much anger there. I was just like, what happened?
Probably because all the things that they heard earlier,
Yeah, I
right?
didn't know that, though. So I was just like, oh my god, did you guys throw down behind the stage? But apparently you did. Oh my god.
That's-
That's really funny.
Do you think other LCS teams do that? Like have their kind of banter, trash talk backstage off the internet?
So people don't trash talk like the way United did. it'll be like so like me and like Parse, I'll be like, oh my god, the apprentice has returned. Like we'll say stupid stuff like that. well, like we'll say like dumbass stuff. Like that's not actually like trash talking. I guess like to me like that's trash talk. Like between two friends like having fun like that.
In
Like-
good spirits.
Yeah, in good spirits. Like if I didn't know someone or if I weren't like good friends with them or like if we were like on bad terms, like I wouldn't trash talk because that's like actually starting something.
Yeah.
Like so like after me and Dardock had like all this fiasco, like if you make LCS, like I wouldn't trash talk Immortals because that would be genuinely looked at as like me starting something.
Right.
Because there's already some like bad history there. But I would trash talk someone like TSM because I'm still friends with a few of the players. I'm friends with Parth. I'm friends with Andy. I would trash talk Team Liquid because I'm friends with David. I'm friends with Steve. Like I would trash talk CLG because I'm friends with Tony. But I wouldn't like randomly trash talk teams that I have like no connections to.
Yeah, that's where you draw the line. That's the fine line.
It's only if you know them and it's in
Yeah.
good
Like
spirits.
it's like friends
yeah.
bantering. Like
Yes.
that's what I see it as.
Yeah,
Cheering
yeah.
Not
on
like
each other.
That's
Yeah.
also what Inori had mentioned last week as well. So it's interesting to see that culture kind of permeate and continue.
Do you feel like has this been a change over time? Like before, Double Lift, he's known as trash talk, and he used to trash talk so much. But then
Even
now,
Dyrus got into it at one point, right?
But now, like people just seem to be not all about that trash talk anymore.
I think it had a lot to do with a lot of the players having big personal fan bases. So when they get trash talked, the repercussion from those fan bases are
Right.
usually huge on the players that trash talked.
So it's the fans.
It's all
fault.
the fans.
I mean, it's not just the fans. Like players could have just kept with it, and maybe the culture would have developed in a different way. But that's just the culture in NA right now.
Right.
All right, well, back to the NA Challenger scene. You've been with the team now for almost, I guess, a whole season. We're wrapping
whole
up
split,
the season. Yeah, the
yeah.
whole split. Do you feel like the Challenger scene in NA is healthy? Is there a good competitive scene there?
Naturally, no. I think a lot of the teams that were good this split and a lot of the teams that were good last split had like external funding and they weren't just like challenger teams getting paid challenger salaries. And to be able to like compete in challenger, you can't sustain yourself as a challenger team. Like as a challenger team, you don't get enough exposure. You can't draw in enough sponsors, and yeah, like it just doesn't work. The only way it works is you make it into LCS and a split or two. That's literally the only way it works from like far as I know. Like,
Yeah,
in terms of
there's-
business model.
There's actually a fun fact that no challenger team has existed for more than 2 splits in challenger.
Really?
Yeah.
We see a lot of teams having like, I guess you don't call them sister teams, do you? When they have like a spot in both LCS.
There's only
Like Misfits.
one in Europe, or a couple in Europe with Fnatic and Misfits,
Yeah.
and Delta Fox in North America.
Is that something you think we're going to see more often? Like where an LCS team has a sub, I guess, team? Is
Loco,
that-
what do you
Uh,
think?
Yeah.
I think that's the only way like it can go for challenger teams to be healthy if challenger was a second league for LCS and every challenger team in the league had like a sister team in LCS.
Is it because they get
But-
the support? Is it from?
Well, first of all, like the new orgs coming in, it's really hard for them to compete because they don't know what to do. They don't know what kind of players to pick up. They don't know how to coach the players. They basically are starting from scratch and competing versus like teams like say our team, Gold United. Like everyone on our staff, Summer and Alec, worked with teams before. I worked in management roles in teams before. I've been a head coach for a long ass time, so I have a huge lead over like any teams that aren't us, basically. And so if like there was like TSM Junior, C9 Junior, Team Liquid Junior, and then like CLG Junior competing in Challenger, like those teams would have access to better scrims, better management, better coaches, and they could pick better players too, because they would have an eye for players in a way that was a lot more accurate than a lot of the other challenger teams and the new orgs would have. So it would just make the challenger scene better. And also roster instability is a huge problem in NA. Like
Yeah.
the Meteos, or not Meteos, Inori like leaving for a bit. Like imagine there was no Meteos. Like
Yeah.
what would happen to P1
Right.
basically. So yeah, I think having a bunch of young challenger players being developed under big orgs in a second league is a great thing for NA, and I think that's what's needed for a challenger. Not this like people try to get into LCS without buying a spot kind of deal.
Are you just missing sister teams, Loco?
I feel like it wouldn't be like sister teams. It would be more first string, second string.
Right. But you know, some of the second string teams, CLG Black and Delta Fox, off the top of my head, they do get to scrim their LCS equivalents. Isn't that crucial to the kind of development that you're talking about, or does that not matter as much?
I mean, let's see.
Like you're talking about the ability for the second tier team to be able to play against
LCS.
tier teams,
Yeah, exactly.
to grow them.
Exactly. Like if this is just a development league and they don't have the chance to get into LCS unless their LCS team is kind enough to let them play a game or two, you know.
That is a huge problem, like getting scrims. I do agree.
See, like you bring up a really good point, but that makes me it's kind of sad on my end, because it seems like the pool is very limited, and anyone else outside of that pool, like maybe they are, you know, good in Challenger, but they're not part of CLG Black, or it's hard for them to then get in. Like, how do people outside get in?
It's hard. That's the thing.
No.
Well,
it's nearly impossible in my opinion. Like LCS teams were nice enough to give us a lot of scrims, and I'm very, very thankful. And I'm very thankful because I feel like we provided LCS teams with LCS level practice. But even if we were able to, if we didn't have the previous connections, like I don't think we would have had a chance to. And I'm very grateful that they allowed us to.
Did you have something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that, you know, you even see kind of how impossible it is in your own roster, right? You have a support sub for MadLife, Wyan, who I believe he has played a couple of games during the Challenger split.
He played the first 2 games because
Yeah.
MadLife wasn't here because of visa situations.
Right. But then I guess in that case, that's kind of a circumstance outside of like him being able to perform better, right? So I guess the question you kind of see Gold Coin United as a microcosm of that Challenger player issue, insofar as like Wyan wouldn't be able to displace MadLife at the moment in his like due to his own skill, and you see that proliferate all over Challenger. Like Challenger players seemingly don't have the skill, but is it really that they don't have the skill, or that they're not being scouted effectively or appropriately?
I think a lot of them have the mechanics to be a good player. So like that's like the first thing that's required. So this is how I felt about League of Legends in general, versus like other esports. Well, not even other esports, more specifically StarCraft. Like StarCraft players took their career very, very seriously. So this is like a career trajectory for a StarCraft player, okay?
Okay.
So you play a lot of StarCraft ladder, and then you play on a lot of private servers in Korea, and you join a clan. and then you do that for a year. So purely like as an amateur online, okay? You do that for a year. And then after a year, like you're good enough to qualify for, it's called a courage tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's the tournament where you play in, and if you win, you get an official StarCraft pro gamer license. And
wow.
you need this to be a pro gamer.
Okay.
So you play amateur for a year, and then you compete in courage, and then you do courage maybe once, or maybe up to like 3 or 4 times because you don't win the first like the few times, and then you get your official StarCraft pro gamer license. And then now you're eligible to get drafted by the big Kespa teams like KT, SKT, and Samsung.
Right.
So you play in like sort of like mini combines every few months, and then hopefully like you get drafted within like let's say 6 months, okay? And then afterwards, like you'll be a third stringer for about 2 years, or maybe even maybe if you're shorter, if a year. And then like you'll play StarCraft, and then you'll be a practice partner, and you'll do bills that your teammates are asking you to do, and you'll do laundry, and then you'll do dishes. I'm not even joking.
Oh my
Like this isn't an
God.
over exaggeration. Like you'll do this for about like a year or 2 years.
Wow.
And then you'll try to qualify for the 2 OGN league, or the 2 leagues, OSL and MSL.
Yep.
And you might get 1 game or 2 games as like a sniper pick in the pro league. Like pro league is like the big team league. And then so like once you start qualifying for OGN, once you start qualifying for MSL, you'll start playing more and more in pro league, and you'll start playing more in those OSL and MSL, or OSL and MSL leagues. And then by that time, maybe after 2 years, you'll be a first stringer. So like, and then you're now like a pro gamer, and then now you're appearing on TV often.
How long does that
How many years was
process
that?
like?
Yeah.
I
So
counted
like 2 to
4.
3 years,
Yeah.
or like 2 to 3 years, sometimes up to 4 years
Yeah.
to be like a known face and like to play professionally. And then compare that to League of Legends, where people go from like playing for a year and then they become pro. Like their mindset and how much they appreciate their job is like miles apart.
I was gonna say, for the StarCraft timeline you just presented us, do
Mm-hmm.
you think all the minor, the laundry, the dishes, all the hard minor things that people don't get to see,
The grunt work.
Yeah, the grunt work. That's a good term for it. Like, do people only focus on the glory and are aware of the glory, and they don't know about the grunt work?
They don't know about this.
Right?
shit.
It's like they
Yeah.
come in, they're like, oh
About
shit, I
crypto,
have to do dishes. Well, I guess so.
Yeah.
I want to do it. Like,
Yeah.
do you think if that was made more output out there, would people still want to do this job? Would people still want to do it?
I mean, in Korea at the time, there were so many people wanting to be a pro gamer. So yeah, they would want to. But like in League, you go so quickly from being an unknown to being on LCS stage. So you don't have any kind of like media training. You don't have like that much of appreciation for your jobs. And when even in Korea, when League players were starting to become pro for the first time, a lot of the things that I heard was like, you're so ungrateful, like you're so you don't know how much work it takes to be like actually a pro gamer. You don't like, you just don't know. And funny enough, I did know, because a lot of my friends try to be pro gamers, and a pretty close friend of mine got all the way up to second string, so I did know like the kind of stuff it took.
Right.
And I was a lot younger, and I was really cocky, and I just thought myself to be like super talented, and I was like, I'm so talented, like I could just skip all the process. But in reality, like in terms of like being a pro gamer for League, it's a lot in ways easier than it was for StarCraft, and a lot less grueling and time consuming. So people do appreciate their job less, and people do act. I definitely don't think people would be acting this way if it took like 3 to 4 years to be like to step onto the NALCS stage.
Is there not that so there's not that elongated process for League? You kind of explained that really clearly. Is that a problem with the way that Riot structures its leagues, insofar as people kind of get pulled from solo queue right into the Challenger Series or right into the LCS, and that there's no in between that Riot or any third party necessarily provides?
I mean, partly it is due to Riot's fault, but also partly it's due to like how the things are structured. And like now, more and more so, it's very hard to jump in from solo queue to on stage. I thought Dardoch and Matt were exceptionally good to go straight from like solo queue to barely playing in challenger to playing on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I think like a more common occurrence, like more and more so, is going to be someone like Stixay, who spent a lot of time under the CLG organization
Right.
and who just watched Double F play a lot and who played as a challenger player for a while. And then he, after like a year or so of that, he stepped onto stage and he did really well, I thought, for a rookie.
Is there, do you
And
think, a correlation between how long you spend in like challenger, or I guess doing the grueling work, to getting on stage? Is there a correlation?
I mean, the correlation right now is negative.
Yeah.
If you spend longer in challenger, then it's bad.
Then it's bad. Yeah.
Hmm.
You think of like Bjergsen, for example, just jumping straight into LCS and then jumping to.
I mean, I'm
NA
trying to, because
after.
you brought up Stixay, and then talking about like Dardoch too. Like Stixay spent how many splits on CLG Black? Like a couple, right?
Yeah.
Before replacing Double Lift, he's doing well. He's doing very well, making.
He's
a
doing
name for himself.
extremely well for
Exactly.
a
Really
rookie.
well. Yeah.
And then we have like Dardoch and Matt, who we see are kind of struggling. Like Dardoch's picking up a bit more, but like I think they struggled a bit more than Stixay
Right,
did.
right.
So like, what's the correlation between like spending, I guess, challenger time practicing? Like, is challenger now a great practice ground? The more you spend in it, and then you get into the LCS, you're more likely to have success. Is there that sort of trajectory?
I mean, it allows you to grow, and it allows you to constantly like experience like high tier play and like LCS level play without being like actually playing in it. So it can be really helpful. It's just like, think of it as collegiate for or collegiate sports for football. Like, you spend your time like playing in like the little leagues. Like, that's what basically challenger should be.
Yep.
And I think more teams are seeing that, and they're developing players a lot more, and they realize like, okay, so we have all this money, and we can't just like go and buy Bjergsen or like go and buy Double Lift or
Right.
go and buy Sneaky.
Well, I mean,
Team Liquid did it.
yeah.
Come on, Loco.
They didn't actually get to like. I don't
yeah,
think they're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
get to keep Double, but. Anyways, like, you can't, even if you have all the money in the world, like, you can't just buy the best players. So, I mean, what do you do now? I mean, you can go buy Koreans, but at max you can only buy 2 of them. So, the best way to develop or have a good player is like to develop them, and I think that is the future. Like, teams are all gonna have sister teams, and they're gonna or second string teams, and they're gonna try to develop challenger players. Because, I mean, personally, like, that's how I feel about our roster. I feel like MadLife is going to be good for a very long time, maybe 2 years, maybe even 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, one day MadLife will be gone and he'll go back to Korea, or maybe he'll stay on as coach. I don't know.
Right.
But one day MadLife will be gone, and I'm going to need a replacement. And instead of like looking for a replacement, like the day that MadLife is gone, it would be really cool if I could have someone like study under MadLife, study with our team, and learn how to play League of Legends and learn how we communicate and the systems we use and get used to our team culture while MadLife is playing. And that's what Ryan is doing right now for our team. Like, he's a sub, he's learning, he's
Yep.
here, and like the day that MadLife like leaves, Ryan will be ready to hopefully step in.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's a good system. Well, to wrap up talk on the promotional tournament, now you might possibly be facing, let's see, who are the lower tier NALCS teams? We have Team Liquid, Team
And
So the
Envy.
three teams we can face are MB, Echo Fox, and
Yeah.
TL.
Yep.
So, how do you feel like your roster, Gold Coin United, stack up amongst these teams?
So, I think I'm not gonna say anything.
Come on, let's
The
hear some
trash
Loco
talk.
trash talk. You're friends with them.
I think we have a good chance to make it into LCS. I'll say that.
A good chance.
Regardless
Good
of
chance.
the team you face, or
So, regardless of who we face, I definitely think we can be the best team out of the 4 teams competing in the promotion tournament.
Right.
So, I'm confident in my team, and I hope to do well. And I mean, there's a thing about like trash talking. Like, even if I like trash talk and say like, oh, I'm gonna like relegate Team Liquid, I'm like, oh, Echo Fox and Envy
we're
are so
quoting
bad.
you on that.
I feel like it just puts added pressure on my players, and it's
Yes.
something that I'm gonna constantly go back to and like constantly think about. So like it can have like a very negative effect for especially a tournament like this where it's like life or death. Like you either
Right.
make it in and you're an LCS team, or you lose and like like you're out, like you're just out, like your life is over.
Well, here's a
So-
question. If
Okay.
perchance you guys do the tournament and for some reason you guys don't make it, what would be your plan? What would you do?
I don't know. Replace Lisa on score.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't think you're qualified, buddy.
What's my qualification?
You don't even
This is-
know.
It's like a month later. You don't know what he'll do in that
All right,
time.
you know what? Here,
He'll be in
Loco,
the
if you-
hyperbolic time chamber.
He comes here, I will teach you everything I know. I'll train
Okay.
you. I'll train you.
All right. It'll be a very short hour of training.
Oh, yeah, because then we're gonna kick you out right after that hour. All right. That's good
That's
to
the
know.
trash talk I wanted
That's
to
good
hear.
to know. Okay, actually, let's move on to you being a coach. You've been in coaching for so long now.
Yeah.
I know.
Are you tired of it, man? You're like, fine.
It's like my dislike for coaching has been always the same level.
Yeah.
But my expertise and experience and like I guess level of coaching has constantly increased. So it came to a point where I'm like, oh god, I'm like really good at this now. And I don't like it. Like at the start, I was like, okay, I don't like this that much, and I'm like okay at it. And then as time goes on, I'm like, my dislike level has stayed the same, but I've gotten better and better and better at it. So I'm like, oh god, I don't like this, but I'm getting better and better at this.
So you
like,
have to
so
stick with. I remember.
I'm lost on what to do.
I remember in Vegas when we did our interview, you're like, I never thought I'd be a coach. I have like the worst personality to be a coach, and yet like 2 years later, you're still a coach.
Still a coach.
It's like a year later.
Okay, I'm exaggerating for
I don't know you
effect,
for that long.
I'm exaggerating for effect, but you know the point. You're still coaching. So why don't you take us through, since your time coaching for TSM to Team Liquid to now Gold Coin, what has changed in that time frame?
Like, what has changed in the world of coaching? Like, how has coaching progressed in that time period?
I think a lot of other like outside coaches from outside the industry came in, and they actually taught me about a lot of good things to do within the teams, and a lot of teams developed their own systems, and coaching just became more structured and more legitimate due to coaches in the scenes developing their own system, and teams outside the scene coming in, or coaches outside the scene coming in and teaching teams about new concepts and things to do. So I learned a lot from like the other coaches like Daler, Goma. Who else did I learn a lot from? I mean, even Summer, who's like she didn't have like that much like esport coaching experience. So yeah, coaching just became more and more legitimate and more of a valid career and a valid thing for teams to invest money into.
You mentioned some coaches you just listed. How have they influenced your own style, or have you developed your own like individual style of coaching?
I developed my own individual style, and I also took in a lot from other coaches. But here's the thing about like League of Legends coaching and like developing your own style. You can develop your own style, but rarely, very, very rarely can you pick out the players that fit your own style. Most of the coaches inherit their roster, and the players already have an idea of how they want to do things and how they want to be coached. So it's more so about being adaptable and coaching the players and being more personalizing your coaching to the players you have. Like it's not like coaching in traditional sports where you're like, okay, I'm this kind of coach, so I'm gonna draft this kind of players. I want this kind of players on my team, and we're gonna do things my way. Like it's not like that.
Well, did you have that opportunity with Gold Coin United, kind of crafting a roster from scratch?
Not really, because I picked the players that were best at their roles, not the players that would be best to my play style.
Right.
I adapted my coaching more so than adapting my. I didn't want to pick players that would be good for my coaching style, but be worse overall as players. So I just took the best players available.
All right. You're forming a roster right now at this moment.
Okay.
Pick your 5 players, your 5 starting players that you think fit your coaching style the best.
So for the sake of argument, I'll consider all my players unavailable.
Oh,
Sure.
'Cause
Okay. Fair.
if
fair.
if not, I'll take all my players.
Okay. Your players are all unavailable.
Okay. So for top, from what I heard, like TSM players are really coachable.
Right.
But in terms, and I think it would be sort of like a cop out. So for top, I would take Lorlo, Sam.
Okay.
He's been very coachable from when I worked with him. For jungle, I'll take Dardoch for the synergy with Lorlo.
No,
Okay, no. This is
trolling.
this is
Stop
about
trolling.
this is about your coaching style.
Okay.
You said you have a distinct coaching style.
I'll
Which
take-
players fit that style
guy.
the best? Like, what's the
Okay.
team that fits that
I
coaching
know. I
style?
was joking about Josh.
Yeah.
I'll take Lorlo.
Yeah.
And for jungle, who have I worked with that was like pretty coachable? For jungle,
Struggling with junglers.
Like Smithy.
Those
I don't know.
those toxic.
I think Moon actually is
Oh.
like really coachable.
Okay.
He has like some confidence issues, and he wants to play like off meta picks a lot.
Mhm.
Like but in terms of like coachability, I think like Moon is very coachable, so I would take Moon.
Okay.
For mid, I heard like, it's not a knock at Bjergsen. Bjergsen was really young, and I was pretty immature, and I was not that great of a coach back then. So
Mhm.
me and Bjergsen clashed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So he like we didn't find each other like very coachable or like a very good coach. But I think like from how he developed, like, and now how he views coaching and how he views like improvement, like I think Bjergsen is one of the most coachable players. Also, another person would be like Grayson. Golden Glue, like despite
yeah.
not that stellar of a performance, his coachability is really high.
Okay.
So I'll probably take Bjerg or Grayson.
Huh.
And then for AD,
Double lift.
double.
Why? Why are you laughing?
Very
Why are you laughing,
historically
Loco?
coachable. Of
Why
course.
are you laughing, Loco?
I would take who's like a very coachable player. Keith didn't really listen that well. So.
He did listen.
Who's coachable? Let's see, top down. I never worked with Stickface, so it's hard to say.
Sneaky?
Sneaky. I'm sure. Actually, maybe Sneaky is really coachable. I never hear like, oh, Sneaky's like being uncoachable or Sneaky arguing
Right.
drama. So like from just like outside, hearing from outside, like maybe Sneaky, but I never had personal experience with him, so it's hard to say. Who
Altec?
else?
There's Altec.
Oh, actually, I worked with Johnny before. Johnny's actually really coachable.
Altec,
Johnny,
right?
Johnny.
has, like, Johnny has like is really young and struggles mentally sometimes, but like in terms of coachability, like I think Johnny's really coachable. So yeah,
Okay.
Johnny.
All
And
time.
then
Cool.
support to wrap it up.
Wyan, I think Wyan's really coachable. I guess
He's
maybe
on
he's
your
one of my
team.
players. Okay,
No,
fine, some other
but
dude.
he's
Come
a sub.
on. Oh,
He's a
come
sub.
on. You're breaking your own rules that you set.
I actually think Matt's pretty coachable. From Team Liquid.
hmm
There's times where he'd be strong-headed, but in general, he's been pretty coachable. So maybe I'll take Matt.
Can you just imagine that team? How do you think they would even do in the LCS?
I don't think, well, I didn't
Pure.
pick these players because they were the best players at their roles.
All right,
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah.
I think we'd be very congruent and we'd work well as a team.
Sounds like a
And we'd
reasonable
improve-
team.
We'd improve quickly. I don't know where we would start out. Where we would start out at would be pretty bad, but we would end in a good spot.
Okay.
All right. Now, next question. Do you feel that there's a shortage of qualified coaches in the NALCS or just any region?
NALCS, CS. Is there a shortage of qualified coaches right now?
So you're basically asking me, are there unqualified coaches in LCS? And I
Or
think the answer
CS.
to that is yes.
We're not going to name names, but
Well,
we do want to know
yeah.
if you think that's the case. How do we change that?
Make coaching more legitimate, pay coaches more money, make it more of an attractive job for people to get into and take more seriously.
Why
then
does
I think
why does paying coaches more money make it more likely?
That they'll be a good coach?
Yeah.
I
why is
if the base salary for coaches were a lot higher, let's say in 6-digit range, or like 1 point or like 150 or 200 range, I think more and more qualified professionals would be willing to jump into coaching.
We've seen a couple of people from like traditional sports come over to esports and try to their hand at coaching. Do you feel like that, like their background makes sense in esports? Like, does it actually help?
So their background in traditional sports is definitely a benefit that they have, and it's something that it's an edge they can have over other coaches, but it actually like doesn't matter that much if they don't have a base understanding of esports. And when they're walking into esports, if they're not like, I want to learn, and esports is really different. They're like, the coaches that I've seen fail are the ones that realize esport isn't different, or they're the ones that did not realize esport is different, and they have to change a lot about how they coach and how they treat players, how they work with management, what their job entitles. Like, those people have been really, really good at adapting and like really jumping into esports and learning it fully. But the ones that are like, okay, I'm gonna coach them like I coach my sports team, are the ones that fail miserably usually.
Yeah, because I think of like Woodbuck or Blurred Limes. Those are people who came from traditional sporting backgrounds, and they didn't necessarily have as big of an impact as maybe a Kkoma or the Samsung head coaches, for example.
No, that brings up to in my mind. Sorry, I can't even talk. Sorry. That brings up. I'm curious about. So there's this fun fact I read, and I'm very surprised by it, Loco. Apparently, you played on a team with Kkoma before.
Oh yeah. Okay, I never played on a team with Kkoma. When I joined, that was when Kkoma got kicked.
Oh.
Wait a second. Okay.
Was it because you joined?
Yeah. What's the background story behind that?
No, it's not like because I joined. It's because Kkoma was pretty average as a player.
Yeah.
Or even on like the lower end as a player. So that team wanted to level up, so they were getting a really good player, and they were letting their not so great players go.
Oh, so well, I guess you got to spend a little bit of time with him on technically the same team. The transition.
No, I didn't.
period?
I didn't get to. But I did get to interact with Kkoma a lot, like throughout my time in Korea.
Actually, yeah. Tell us more about your relationship with him. Do you ever like call him up for like advice?
I do ask him for advice all the time, and we'll talk and we'll chill at international events. He was actually like very take care-ish. There was a time where I tried out for the SKT team, and then I didn't get in, and then like he called me up personally, and then he invited me out for coffee, and like he really took care of me, like so.
Wow.
Let you down easy. It's not you, it's me.
He was very like he just took care of us he took care of me personally very well, and I think he does that for a lot of people that he's close with. So
do you think that's his secret? Because like he's obviously probably the most successful coach,
Most qualified,
Yeah.
successful, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
I think he has really good game knowledge, and he understands players very well, because he also used to be a pro League of Legends player, and he was also a pro StarCraft 2 player. For a lot of people don't know, but he used to be a pro StarCraft 2 player, and he also was a pro, like, it's funny to say pro Chaos player, because Chaos was like not that big of a scene. It's another like Korean MOBA. So he's been like in this like not League of Legends space. He's been in the MOBA professional gaming space for a while, so he really understands what the players are going through, and he takes care of them very well.
So that kind of empathy, you'd say, is really important in a coach. Is that why it's so difficult for like sports coaches to come in?
No, Loco's laughing because he knows he lacks it. That's why he's laughing. I can tell.
Wow, Lisa,
I can tell. I know.
Yeah, like funnily enough, like that's one thing I struggle with, and I've been trying to get better at being more empathetic, because
Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of a sociopath.
The first step is admitting it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Second step is going to jail.
And then the third step is
Stay
reform.
away from us.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of other relationships, you have an interesting relationship with MadLife.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us? Give us the lowdown there.
I mean, we've known each other for a long time, and we've fought you were there for each other's high. I guess I was not there for each other in that life.
You abandoned him when he needed you. This episode is really a roast. We're just roasting.
This is the trash talk episode. We are trash talking, whether it's each other.
Yeah.
He's one of the players I've known for the longest time, like up to like 5 or 6 years now. Jesus Christ.
Are you having like an existential
we know each other
crisis?
pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I know him pretty well. I know what makes him click, what makes him upset, what makes him happy, how to work with him, and same for him. And I think he's an incredible player, and I'm very surprised like he's been able to maintain this level for such a long time.
Mm-hmm. Were you the ones who convinced him to come to NA and play on?
Of course.
Oh, well, I'm just making sure.
Who else would convince them?
I don't know. I'm just saying. So, like, how did that come about?
Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, those guys.
They're dead.
Maybe he's there for Santorin. Who knows? I don't know.
But their portraits are alive and well on American currency, my friend.
So what?
Like, do you guys have like a love hate?
$105. $105.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Guys, so do you guys have like a love hate relationship? What's the dynamic like between you and MadLife?
It's like it's almost like brotherly. It's like an older brother, younger brother kind of relationship.
Okay.
And like ultimately he listens because I'm the coach.
Yeah.
It's actually a very like funny relationship. We might not be as close as a lot of people think, but we're also closer in a lot of different ways than a lot of people think.
Well, you're just saying general. But tell us, like, in what?
In what ways?
Yeah, in what way?
Me and him actually don't talk a lot, like that often, like personally.
Okay.
Because I'm very Americanized in how I grow up, and he's very traditional Korean in how he grew up. So our viewpoint on life and viewpoint on things are very different. So, but like we still do take care of each other in different ways. Like, so because I'm like that, I usually try to like introduce him to people that are more like him.
Gotcha.
And yeah, like I try to take care of him so he's comfortable here as much as possible. And he does show appreciation, and he does work really hard. And I just like working really hard and shot calling well is all I can ask out of him.
So you guys haven't fought yet.
Carry me to LCS, man. Like,
so he is shot calling then. He's shot calling for the team.
I would say him and Lucas are the biggest voices.
Okay. And when he does, how's his English? Is it good enough for the rest of the team to kind of like understand everything fully, or?
Yeah, his English has been getting better and better. He takes English lessons every week, and he's been very like forward about wanting to be more vocal and wanting to speak more English and wanting to be more incorporated. And I feel like he's doing that more and more.
That's cool.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, and I think we're almost reaching the end of our time. Oh, we do have one fan question that I pretty much promised to ask you.
Okay.
Someone on Twitter asked, what are the differences between coaching in the LCS versus challenger scene in terms of effort, preparation, and pressure?
Okay, so effort, I mean, you can still put in a lot of effort as a challenger coach, and that's what I've been doing. Like, I've been putting just as much effort as I've been in LCS. And what was the second part? Effort and
preparation and pressure.
I mean, preparation, I think it goes hand in hand with effort. It was kind of weird to prep at the earlier in the season because I did not know like a lot of the players, and our prep became really generic, and it became more about us doing better than like prepping specifically for an opponent like we would do in LCS.
Okay.
And in terms of pressure, most people aren't gonna believe me, but outside of like Worlds with TSM, this has been the most pressure I've been under as a coach. Like, because the stakes in a lot of ways are actually higher in Challenger for teams that are expected to get in.
Right.
Because if you don't get in, like everything just goes boom. Like
Schalke.
if you don't,
Oh shit! Damn.
I'm just saying that's what
Schalke?
happened.
Yeah.
if you don't make LCS, then yeah, like everything goes boom. And like in LCS, like long as you don't get relegated, you always have like next split to look forward to.
So you would say that the effort and preparation, you could put more or the same amount as you would in LCS and CS. Would you see similar results from the same amount of preparation, or would it be would it matter as much in Challenger? Or
the quality of players you have is really important in Challenger. I feel like if I was coaching Team Gaze, I'm not gonna get the same kind of like result even if I put in the same amount of effort.
Right.
Okay, well, before we wrap it out, we actually created a very special segment for you, Loco.
Super special.
Very quick, very special. Are you ready for it?
Sure.
It's called Addressing Rumors, because apparently there's a lot of rumors surrounding you.
Okay.
You've had an interesting history. So I'm just going to say the rumor, and you tell me true or false. Give us a lowdown. Ready?
Okay.
Ready? Okay, number 1. Oh, you actually kind of alluded to this already. While on TSM, you and Bjergsen had a lot of conflicts, and he basically was the reason why you got kicked off the team. True or false?
Semi-true. We had a lot of conflict, and in ways we were really close to each other, but we also had a lot of conflict. But he wasn't the primary reason why we split ways.
Do you talk to Bjergsen still?
Yes.
What do you guys
That's
talk
good
about?
to hear.
We're Soylent.
Soylent?
We were
Oh
talking-
my
our last
god.
conversation- Our last conversation was on Soylent and the game.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Number 2. There's going to be a pattern you'll see soon. While on Team Liquid, you and Dardoch also had a lot of conflicts, which led to you getting kicked from the team.
With Team Liquid,
Yeah.
conflict with Stardock had nothing to do with it. They were planning to split way with Dardoch. It had more to do with disagreement within management.
Okay.
Okay. Number 3. Oh, this one's I'm a little curious about. So Team Liquid has this documentary that they release weekly. People are wondering, is the documentary scripted? True or false? How scripted was it? How scripted was it?
It's not scripted.
It's not scripted at all. And nothing done was done for the camera. And often enough, like I would ask for the camera to be off, and I acted and behaved the same way I would do. But I think the documentary was really jaded in how it presented me.
Oh, so is there anything you want to clear up from how you were presented?
I thought it painted a very negative view of me, and it skipped out on a lot of the things that Josh was doing and a lot of like the bad parts of the management.
And actually, the last one coming from that. So in the past, you've had a keyboard breaking incident.
Keyboard
breaking incident. And so people are wondering if you have an anger management problem. True or false?
Lisa is wondering.
I'm wondering. Well, I know.
If you make me mad, I'll hit you.
Holy crap.
Jesus.
Loco has an anger problem confirmed.
Confirmed. 100%.
I don't have like an anger management problem. Like I'm usually able to like deal with it in pretty productive ways. And like I think that was like the 3rd keyboard I broke. I broke 2 as a player.
Oh
and
my
then,
goodness.
Like that was my first as a coach.
And I'm sure it won't be the last. All right, Loco, thank you so much for joining today. It was really fun. We hope you the best of luck, and then we'll hopefully see you in the
Yes.
NLCS.
Cheers. Good luck.
All right, bye.
All right, thank you, Loco. And
Thank
you
you,
guys,
Loco.
thank you so much for tuning in. We want to hear any of your feedback, so be sure to tweet at us or write in the comments. We'll read them all. And we will see you guys next week for another fun show.
Cheers, guys. We promise no more electro swing.
Maybe.
All right, is that it?